Hello and welcome back to Overbooked. I'm Amanda and today we're going to be doing my March wrap up. March has been an interesting month to say the least. The whole COVID-19 situation and quarantining ourselves, social distancing has been a huge presence in all of our lives, and I hope that everyone out there is staying safe and healthy and your families are safe and healthy, and hopefully we all get through this thing on the other side. With that being said, I've been working from home and practicing social distancing since the second week of March. Yeah, so I have been working from home since March 9th, and I have canceled all of my plans with everyone that I know. So it's been a while, and you think with all the spare time I would just be pouring over my books. Wrong. I have only finished 5 books in the month of March, which isn't bad, but I think it would technically only be maybe 4 because I was halfway through the first book in the beginning of March. Regardless, I've also watched some really interesting shows, so I'll be wrapping those up as well because why not? We all need content and entertainment during this time. But we'll start with the books, because that's what we're all here for. So the first book that I read for the month of March was Know My Name by Chanel Miller. I did a whole book review on this, so you can check that out. But Know My Name is the memoir of Chanel Miller. She is the sexual assault victim of Brock Turner that happened on the Stanford campus, like back in 2016, I believe. And she just writes this memoir detailing her experience and what she went through after the event and going through court, and obviously what it was like to hear the news that Brock Turner only received essentially 3 months in jail. So it was really great. It's already, I think, one of my favorite books of the year. I highly recommend it if you haven't read it, and if you haven't checked out my review, you can do so now. Okay, so then I also read the book Sula by Toni Morrison. This was my first Toni Morrison book. I also did a book review on this. I will link it below. You can check that out. Sula takes place in the 1920s. Well, I guess right after World War I, it technically starts, and then progresses through, I think it goes to up to like the 40s or 50s. It shows a friendship between 2 women, and it kind of just shows the growth and development of their friendship through everything that they're going through and everything that's going on around them. These 2 women are both Black women, and they live in a Black community that is definitely disenfranchised, and how they handle that, and then how one gets married and has children and stays in their community, and the other one goes off to get an education and lives in the big city, and when she comes back, kind of seeing how their personalities are different and the same, how that affects their friendship. I enjoyed it. It wasn't hooked in it, and I'm sad to say that that was my impression of my first Toni Morrison book, but I think that I will continue to try to read Toni Morrison, and I think the next one on my list is The Bluest Eye. So that just wasn't available that was my first choice as my first Toni Morrison book, but it just wasn't available at the library when I went. So maybe over this quarantine, we'll see if that happens. I doubt it, but we'll see. All right, third book I read was The Attica Prison Uprising of 1971 and Its Legacy by Heather Ann Thompson. You guys, I also have a book review on this. Delivering the goods in March, let me tell you. I read this for the Reading Women Challenge. It was for the prompt, a book over 500 pages. This bad boy is like 576 pages worth of content for you to absorb. Let's go. This book is obviously a nonfiction book, and it details the 1971 uprising at the Attica prison, where the prisoners took over the prison and held a protest in one of the blocks. And eventually, once negotiations could not be met, the government, hence the state police, National Guard, and correctional officers, took back the prison with force. And when I say force, I mean like extreme violent force and aggression that was not necessary. And the book details the aftermath of that occurrence and how it was still being fought. I was shocked to up to very recently. I think the book had the most recent year as 2010 or something, or 2015, very recently. So crazy how long that battle between all parties, essentially, not just prisoners and authorities, like, you know, families that were affected that were had family members as COs against the government against the prison system. It was just kind of, there's a lot of different parties fighting, and just to see that battle just be drawn out was fascinating and heartbreaking. But if you really enjoy nonfiction and historical events, I would highly suggest you check this out. The next read I have is the book that I read with my family members for our book club, and it was My Lovely Wife by Samantha Downing. And fun fact, this book is actually going to become a movie apparently sometime. Obviously, probably not in the year 2020 at the rate that we're going, but I think 2021, 22. But what's her butt's going to be in it? Let me look this. Yes, Nicole Kidman wants to star in this movie. So interesting. But the book is about this couple that gets into, how do I say this? They are into murdering women, and they do it together, and it's like their thing. And so, but the most recent murder that they did went wrong, and there's investigations into it, and so the two main characters, husband and wife, have to figure out how to make sure, like, to cover their tracks, essentially. So it is a, like, mystery thriller, kind of don't really know what's going to happen with this murder that gets released and how it all pans out. I actually listened to this on audiobook because I lent my library copy to a friend before all of this broke out. So I was lucky enough to be able to check it out on Libby and listen to it, and I didn't super love listening to it. I'm trying to get used to audiobooks, especially during this time, since we can't go to the library, but I just hated the narration. I wish that they would just have different voices for different characters, like different people. That bothers me so much. I don't know why. And it was kind of creepy to listen to, obviously, because it's kind of a creepy book. I mean, it's like a husband and wife who just love murdering people. But overall, I enjoyed it. I kind of guessed the ending, because I think it's fairly obvious when you're reading it what's going to happen. So I didn't really think it was like a mystery. So a lot of the things that are like revealed at the end, I was like, it was just like, oh, I figured that out already, like in chapter 2. And I'm not trying to be like, look at me, I know what I'm doing. I figured it out. Everyone else on Goodreads figured it out too. So it's just kind of like, I'm interested to see what everyone else thought about it. I thought it was okay. I thought it was good. I maybe would have liked it more if I actually read the physical copy, but I don't know, like 3.5 stars maybe. It was okay. Okay, so the last book I read for March was Vox by Christina Dulcher. I read this for the Girly Book Club, which we are not meeting right now, but they're doing virtual meetings, and I missed it. It was yesterday, and I was like, woo, I got my book club meeting today, and I'm super excited. It started at 5, and I was on a walk, so got my wires crossed and forgot what time it actually started. So I'm bummed about that, but I'm hoping that the Girly Book Club usually puts the interviews with the author and all of their virtual meetings, I think, go on their Facebook page. So I'm hoping that they post that, because I would be interested to see what everybody else thought. Initial thoughts was, I enjoyed this book. I flew through it, so I finished it in like 2 days. I think that it was good. So this book takes place in like this dystopian like future kind of, but like near future. It's not like 3000, it's like 2030 or something. I don't really know. I don't think there's an exact time. It's during this period of time where the United States government limits the rights of women to the point where they are not allowed to essentially work. They're not allowed to talk more than 100 words per day, and they're not allowed to read anything, like not even like cookbooks, which I find bizarre. Like if that happened to me, like, I'm sorry, I guess we're not eating. I don't know how to cook anything. So, but yeah, so it's a little creepy, a little Handmaid's Tale-ish, but the main character is Becuase. She's like a scientist that studies language. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce the actual word to describe that. The President of the United States' brother gets into a accident, and then all of a sudden, like, he can't talk or he can't say complete sentences. So she's like, I guess, the top, you know, language scientist in the United States. So they need her to keep working and help him get his voice back. And so she's allowed to get her bracelet off and work on this. And she is determined to not only work on this, but to fight to get her voice back and her daughter's voice back. And there's a lot of other things going on, but I don't know if they're like spoily enough. Like, they're not in the description on Goodreads, so I don't want to give anything away. But I enjoyed this book. I thought it was good and like fun to read. Some of my criticisms of it were it was a little jumbled. Like, I felt like it really flew by. Like, a lot of things were just hastily done, I felt like, and we didn't really get a lot of explanation on why or how a conflict or situation got resolved, which was weird. I felt like the ending was really rushed, and I didn't really understand how the conflict got resolved, I guess, without being super vague here, but I don't know how to explain it without giving everything away. It's just, if you've read it, please let me know if you agree with me. Like, the ending is like, you're like, what just happened here? I think something good. I'm not quite sure, and I'm not quite sure how we got here. Another criticism is that it's obviously a book about, you know, women losing their empowerment and their rights, but I felt like there was a lot of reliance on men throughout the book to achieve their empowerment again, which I am conflicted about being conflicted about, if that makes sense, because it's a little annoying to see that, you know, at the end of the day, we still need a man to help us, but it's also like, I don't know how they could have done it without a man's help if they can't read, write, or literally do anything without acceptance or approval from a man. So I think that it's a little criticism that doesn't really make sense, because I don't know if anything would be achieved without the alliance of the men in the book. But I would suggest, if you want a fun read, or I guess it's not really fun, but like a quick, engaging read. It's a very engaging book, I would say. And I mean, I read it fairly quickly, so it was pretty good. 3.5, maybe 4 on a good day, stars. Whatever, my star rating doesn't really matter. Whatever, it changes every other day. Those were all the books that I read for the month of March. This video is actually longer than I thought it was gonna be, so let me just go quickly over all the TV shows that I read. Let me just quickly go over the shows that I have watched this month, and please, in the comments below, hit me up with your TV suggestions. I have Amazon Prime, Hulu, and Netflix. I do not have HBO, sadly, but those 3, hit me up. For the majority of March, Love Island UK consumed my existence. I mean, this show is nuts. I loved it. It's this reality dating show thing in the UK. You can't understand half of what they're saying, but I love it. And I just think it is so fun. There's like 33 episodes. They're each an hour long. It consumes your life in a good way. The most recent season is the best. They're all like best friends, and I love it. But for real, I did love Love Island, and I am not opposed to trash TV right now, so hit me up. The other show I've been watching is Little Fires Everywhere. I did my Hulu reaction to it for the first 3 episodes. Obviously, my book review is up as well, but I have continued watching it, and I'm going to watch the newest episode tonight, episode 5, so I'm very excited about that. It's obviously different from the book, and it's going in a different direction, I kind of feel like, and the characters are different, but I am enjoying it, and I'm loving it, and I know that you have to take it or leave it with some of these TV adaptions or like movie adaptions. So I'm kind of disappointed, but I'm like kind of just taking it as like its own separate thing from the book. I'm enjoying it. I love Reese Witherspoon, and I love Kerry Washington, so I'm having a good time. So of course, in this time, I think everyone and their mom has watched this show, Tiger King. I've watched it, I've loved it, I've consumed it. These are some things that I want to say, and they're spoilers if you haven't watched it, so you can skip over this until you figure it out when I'm done talking about it. Carol killed her husband, Joe set fire to his shed. my opinion. Shed studio, I guess, whatever. He did it. And Dawn, man, you were played a terrible deck of cards. Sorry, sir. Spoiler done. And finally, I just finished Ozark. Amazing third season. I can't believe I have to wait like a million years for the fourth season. What a way to end. Loved it. Kept me on the edge of my seat the entire time. The entire time I was watching, I'm like, that person's gonna die, that person's gonna die, that person's gonna die. And then Chandler was like, not all of them can die. Because I think at one point I said every character was going to die. Wasn't wrong with some of them. That's all I'm saying. So that's what I've watched and read for the month of March. A little different this time around because, hey, we're all going a little crazy here. We need content. In the comments below, let me know what I should be watching, what I should be reading, what else I should be doing with my spare time. I just ordered some puzzles. I have Animal Crossing. I'm living my best life here. Trying to. I'm no longer overbooked, that's for sure. And just trying to fill my time with some fun things to keep me occupied. Really excited about those puzzles. And I think that is it for today. I hope you guys are all staying safe and healthy and have fun things to keep you occupied. It's a crazy time and it's a scary time, but I think that if we just, I think there will be a light at the end of the tunnel. There's gotta be, and I have hope, and I just hope you guys are all staying safe and healthy. I know that's like probably the third time I've said it, but it's true. Thanks to you guys for watching. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel. I will see you guys next time.